Do you know that the CIA once admitted something they never expected to admit? Not about weapons, not about technology, not about money, but about people. For decades, intelligence agencies studied strength, discipline, and resilience across the world. They believed they had already identified the toughest minds on Earth. But one observation changed everything. Quietly, without headlines, without applause. It involved Filipinos. Not celebrities, not politicians, not superpowers. Ordinary Filipinos, underestimated, overlooked, laughed at, displaying a level of mental toughness that shocked even the most experienced CIA analysts. One analyst reportedly said, "We didn't expect this." Not at all. Because what they saw wasn't loud. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't arrogant. It was calm. It was disciplined. It was unbreakable. And from that moment, a question began to circulate in intelligence circles. Why do Filipinos endure what breaks others? Filipinos have always lived in pressure. Storms, hardship, colonization, poverty, migration. Yet somehow they smile. They adapt. They survive. CIA behavioral analysts noticed something unusual. When pressure increased, many people collapsed mentally. Filipinos didn't. They slowed down. They focused. They endured. Not because life was easy, but because life had already trained them. A Filipino mindset doesn't panic first. It adjusts first. One analyst described it as emotional shock absorption. Pain doesn't stop them. Embarrassment doesn't stop them. Being underestimated doesn't stop them. It fuels them. And this pattern didn't appear once. It appeared again, and again, and again, across different countries, different jobs, different pressures. Same result. Another thing shocked the CIA observers. Filipinos didn't chase recognition. When praised, they stayed humble. When insulted, they stayed composed. When ignored, they stayed consistent. That combination confused analysts. Most people need validation to perform. Filipinos didn't. Their motivation came from something deeper. Family, pride, responsibility. A Filipino carries more than themselves. They carry parents, siblings, an entire hometown. So quitting isn't just quitting. Failing isn't just failing. It feels like letting everyone down. That pressure should crush a person. But Filipinos turn it into strength. And the CIA noticed, this kind of pressure doesn't weaken them. It sharpens them. Then there was communication. Even under stress, Filipinos stayed respectful. Even under command, they stayed cooperative. Even when challenged, they stayed calm. Analysts noted something rare: high discipline without ego. Most people resist authority under pressure. Filipinos adjusted to it. Not because they were submissive, but because they understood teamwork. They listened. They learned. They adapted quickly. One report noted, they correct mistakes without emotional breakdown. That line alone shocked the room. Because emotional breakdown is the first failure point in high-stress environments. Filipinos didn't break first. They recalibrated first. That's not common. That's not taught easily. That's cultural resilience. By the end of the observation phase, CIA analysts stopped asking if Filipinos were different. They started asking why. Why do they last longer mentally? Why do they absorb pressure better? Why do they stay grounded when others panic? The conclusion was uncomfortable but clear. Filipinos weren't built by comfort. They were built by challenge, built by history, built by hardship, built by responsibility. And the world had underestimated them for too long. This wasn't about power. This wasn't about dominance. This was about something deeper, a quiet strength, a cultural backbone, a resilience that doesn't announce itself, but never disappears. And this was only the beginning. They thought they had already seen everything. Inside the CIA monitoring division, analysts replayed the footage again and again. Not because they didn't understand it, but because they didn't believe it. One voice broke the silence. These people don't react to pressure the way others do. Another analyst leaned forward, eyes locked on the screen. They don't panic. They don't rush. They don't freeze. They adapt. What shocked the CIA wasn't strength. It wasn't speed. It wasn't tactics. It was calm. A calm that came from something deeper. The Filipino mindset. A mindset built through hardship, history, and survival. Generations of struggle had shaped something intelligence agencies rarely measure: emotional endurance. And that endurance was now impossible to ignore. The CIA began digging deeper. Not into weapons, not into numbers, but into people. They studied Filipino culture. Families that stay united through hardship. Communities that rebuild after storms, floods, and loss. A people who smile even when life gives them every reason not to. One analyst quietly said, "These people are trained by life before they're trained by anything else." Filipinos didn't need fear to motivate them. They carried responsibility. Responsibility to family. Responsibility to community. Responsibility to represent something bigger than themselves. That kind of pressure doesn't break people. It forges them. The CIA noticed something else. Filipinos didn't chase recognition. They didn't need to prove dominance. They didn't brag. They didn't celebrate early. They simply performed. Quietly. Consistently. Relentlessly. One analyst whispered, "They don't act like they're trying to impress anyone. They act like failure is not an option." That mindset confused analysts at first. Then it terrified them. Because people like that don't stop when things get hard. They stop when the mission is finished. Another pattern emerged. When pressure increased, most people became aggressive or emotional. Filipinos became focused. When conditions worsened, they didn't complain. They adjusted. They communicated without noise. They supported each other without ego. They moved as if everyone already knew their role. The CIA wrote it down clearly. Collective resilience. Not individual ego. Not lone heroes. Team before self. Culture before comfort. Purpose before fear. That was the difference. By the end of the review, one senior analyst finally spoke the truth everyone was avoiding. "We didn't underestimate their ability. We underestimated their spirit." Another replied quietly, "That's the most dangerous mistake you can make." Because when people are shaped by struggle, guided by culture, and driven by pride, they don't need to be pushed. They push themselves. And the CIA realized something unsettling. Filipinos are not built for easy victories. They are built for survival. They are built for endurance. They are built different. What the CIA noticed next was not strength. It was not speed. It was something far more dangerous. Calm. While others rushed, the Filipinos stayed calm. While others reacted, they observed. While others tried to impress, the Filipinos stayed silent. One CIA analyst leaned forward and said quietly, "Why are they not nervous?" Another replied, "Because they've lived pressure their entire lives." The Filipinos didn't speak much. They listened. They watched. They remembered. Inside their minds, there was no fear, only focus. "I've seen this before," one analyst whispered. "People who grow up with hardship don't panic. They adapt." And that was the moment the CIA stopped underestimating them. What shocked the CIA most was intelligence. Not book intelligence. Real intelligence. The Filipinos learned patterns fast. They noticed small details others missed. They solved problems without being told. One analyst paused the footage and said, "Look at that. He already knows what comes next." Another replied, "They're thinking ahead, not reacting." This wasn't luck. This wasn't training alone. This was survival intelligence. The kind learned from life, not classrooms. The CIA wrote one sentence in their report. "These individuals adapt faster than expected." Then came pressure. Silence. Waiting. Uncertainty. Many people break there. But the Filipinos didn't rush. They didn't complain. They didn't panic. They supported each other quietly. A tap on the shoulder. A nod. A small smile. One analyst said softly, "They don't just work as a group. They move like family." That word stuck. Family. Filipino culture doesn't train individuals. It raises communities. And communities are hard to defeat. The analysts leaned closer to the monitors. Filipino soldiers moved with a rhythm, a precision that no training manual could explain. Even in the harshest conditions, scorching sun, relentless rain, and mud that seemed impossible to cross, they adapted instinctively. One analyst whispered, "They're not just strong, they think differently." Another muttered, "It's not only discipline, it's heart, resilience, and culture combined." The soldiers' minds were as sharp as their bodies. Each obstacle was not a challenge, but an opportunity, a test of patience, strategy, and courage. They encouraged one another silently, with subtle nods, small gestures, and unspoken understanding. "Filipinos are built different," Ramirez said, almost to himself. "It's more than physical. It's pride, resilience, and spirit that push them beyond limits." Even when the drills intensified, scaling walls, crawling through mud, carrying heavy loads, there was no faltering. The soldiers moved like a single organism, each one anticipating the next, their culture and unity guiding them. The training escalated. Soldiers faced extreme endurance tests, mental challenges designed to break even the most seasoned operatives. Hunger, fatigue, and relentless obstacles tested their resolve. Yet, the Filipinos thrived. They drew on something deeper than strength: family, culture, and history. We endure because we are Filipinos. We persevere because we carry our roots with us. One soldier thought, sweat streaming down his face. The CIA analysts watched, stunned. We've trained elite units from all over the world, one whispered, but none exhibit this level of determination, adaptability, and spirit. Even in moments of exhaustion, there was laughter, camaraderie, and pride. Small acts, helping a teammate, sharing water, offering encouragement, reflected not just discipline, but deep respect and unity. Every observer had to admit, Filipino soldiers did not only meet the challenges, they redefined them. And the analysts could not ignore the underlying truth. This was a people with unbreakable pride and cultural resilience. By nightfall, the exercises had reached their peak. Darkness fell, but the soldiers continued. Every movement was deliberate, precise, and calculated. The analysts whispered in disbelief. Even under exhaustion, they maintained clarity. Every step, every decision flawless. Internal thoughts of soldiers revealed the deeper strength. We are not just enduring for ourselves. We carry the pride of our families, our ancestors, our nation. The exercises concluded with no failures, only learning. And as the analysts reviewed the data, one said quietly, "They are unlike anything we've seen. This is more than training. This is culture, pride, and resilience embodied in motion." The Filipino soldiers stood together, exhausted yet unbroken, a living testament to endurance, strategy, and national pride. The Filipino soldiers continued their journey, moving through unforgiving terrain that tested not just their bodies, but their minds. Each step was deliberate, every decision measured, yet their spirit carried them forward with unwavering resolve. The CIA analysts watched closely, astonishment evident in every whispered remark. "No one operates like this," one muttered. "They anticipate every challenge before it even happens." The soldiers drew strength from something intangible: their history, their community, their culture. Every obstacle is a chance to show who we are. Every trial reflects our pride, one thought. The heat, the mud, the fatigue, none of it mattered. Their endurance came from the deep-rooted resilience of a people shaped by generations of struggle and triumph. Even minor challenges were met with ingenuity. When one stumbled, another extended a hand without hesitation. In the silence of the jungle, a quiet language of understanding flowed between them, a testament to unity and trust. As the day progressed, the exercises intensified. Mental challenges were introduced: sudden changes, unpredictable obstacles, and high-pressure simulations designed to break focus. Yet, the Filipino soldiers adapted instinctively. Each mistake was transformed into a lesson, every setback an opportunity to grow stronger. Observers noted the balance between discipline and creativity, an unusual combination that set them apart from every other unit the analysts had ever studied. We endure not for ourselves, but for our families, our communities, our country. A soldier reflected quietly, sweat streaking down his face. The words were unspoken, yet their meaning radiated through every movement. The CIA analysts whispered among themselves, "It's not just skill, it's pride. It's culture. It's resilience. They carry more than their own strength. They carry the spirit of a nation." Despite the grueling tests, laughter, camaraderie, and encouragement persisted. Small acts, a nod, a shared water bottle, a quiet joke, reinforced the bond that propelled them forward. Night descended, yet their determination remained undiminished. Every Filipino soldier moved with purpose, a quiet confidence that inspired even the most skeptical observers. The analysts could only watch in awe. They don't tire. They don't falter. They endure. And they do it with a sense of pride that's almost tangible, one whispered. Their thoughts reflected deeper motivations. "We are the product of generations who survived hardship, who fought for our homes, our families, and our freedom. Every step honors them." The exercises concluded for the day, but the impression left on the observers was indelible. Filipino pride, cultural resilience, and collective strength had been displayed with clarity, purpose, and unmatched excellence. The analysts realized something profound. What they had witnessed was not just exceptional training. It was the embodiment of a people who were built different, a testament to the spirit and pride of the Philippines. The Filipino soldiers had faced every challenge thrown their way: heat, mud, exhaustion, and relentless mental tests. Yet they continued with unwavering determination. Their strength was not only physical, it was cultural, inherited from generations who had survived hardship, protected families, and preserved their communities. Each step carried history, pride, and resilience. The CIA analysts could hardly believe what they had seen. "We've trained elite units worldwide," one whispered, "but nothing compares to this. Their unity, their spirit, it's extraordinary." The soldiers moved with quiet confidence, supporting each other, encouraging each other, never seeking attention, only striving to excel. "We endure because we are Filipinos. We succeed because we honor our roots," one thought. As the final exercises drew to a close, exhaustion painted their faces, yet there was no defeat. Instead, there was pride, satisfaction, and quiet celebration of perseverance. Even minor victories, helping a teammate, overcoming a seemingly impossible obstacle, carried weight. Each moment reflected the Filipino values of community, resilience, humility, and courage. The CIA analysts reflected aloud. "It's more than skill. It's culture. It's mindset. These soldiers carry a nation in their spirit, and it shows in everything they do." The soldiers themselves were unaware of how profoundly they had impressed the observers. They simply continued to support one another, to excel, to persevere, embodying a quiet yet undeniable strength. "We are built different. We endure. We excel. And we honor everything that came before us," a soldier reflected, looking over his team. The exercises ended. The Filipino soldiers stood tall, exhausted but unbroken. Pride radiated from them, not just in their achievements, but in who they were, a people defined by resilience, unity, and culture. The CIA analysts had no choice but to acknowledge what they had seen. This is exceptional. They are built different. Their strength, their pride, their spirit unmatched. For the viewer at home, the message was clear: excellence is more than skill. True strength comes from heart, mind, culture, and perseverance. Filipino pride, humility, and resilience are qualities that inspire the world. So, if you were inspired by this story, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. Remember, this story is fictional, but it celebrates the discipline, pride, and unstoppable spirit of Filipinos everywhere. Filipinos are built different, and their story reminds us all what it means to endure, persevere, and excel.